People say grief makes you see things that aren't there, but the people who say that never watched a boy slowly fade out of his own life. After she died, something inside him didn't just break. It hollowed out, rotted from the inside like a house abandoned too long. At first it was small things. He stopped laughing, stopped eating, stopped showing up to class. Then it escalated. He began talking less, sleeping less, and looking at the world like it was a place he didn't belong in anymore. The nights were the worst. That's when he swore he heard her voice in the walls, soft and wet, like she was whispering through water. Sometimes he'd sit up in bed, trembling, because he could almost hear her murmur. And the sound would cling to him even after he was fully awake. And then, one night, he saw her, or he thought he did. A girl standing under the old streetlight across from his house, her figure still, her head tilted slightly the way his ex used to when she was waiting for him to cross the road. He stepped outside cautiously, heart dragging itself up his throat. But the girl wasn't her. She was someone else, someone unfamiliar yet oddly familiar, in the way her eyes studied him like she had been waiting there long before he arrived.
Are you okay?
She asked softly, her voice like chilled air brushing the back of his neck.
I thought you were someone else.
He whispered. She smiled faintly.
Maybe I am.
From that night on, she met him every week on the same night, same hour, same lonely path. He didn't notice how unnatural that was at first. He was just grateful something, someone, made him feel seen again. But each time he returned home after meeting her, he looked worse. His skin grew paler, his eyes sank deeper. His weight dropped so fast his family nearly begged him to see a doctor. But he refused, because the only time he felt alive was when she touched his hand and whispered things he couldn't resist hearing. One night, as they walked together near the empty park, she brushed her fingers across his jaw and whispered,
"Come here, baby. I have something to show you."
It froze him. Those were the exact words his ex always used when she wanted him close. It wasn't just the words, it was the tone, the timing, the gentle command wrapped inside it. Something twisted inside him as if an old memory had been yanked back into the present.
Why do you say things like that?
He asked, his voice barely holding itself together. She only smiled, too sweet and too sharp around the edges. He should have walked away that night, but something in her eyes, something cold, something hungry, kept him rooted there. And every week, he drifted farther from the people who loved him. He stopped answering friends. He stopped eating meals with his family. His mother cried when she saw how thin he'd become. His father yelled, hoping fear would shake him out of whatever trance he was in. But nothing reached him. Nothing except her. By the 7th week, his hands shook constantly. His chest felt heavy, almost waterlogged. He would wake up gasping, clothes damp as if he'd been dragged out of a pool. But he still showed up at the same streetlight, unable to resist her voice when she said,
You're mine, you know that, right?
And deep inside, some part of him, the drowning part, believed her. The night she asked him to go to the resort, he didn't even hesitate. That alone terrified the few friends he had left, because the resort was where everything had fallen apart the first time. The place where his ex had slipped beneath the water, where the world had cracked open inside him. He had promised himself he would never step foot there again, but when the new girl leaned close, her fingers sliding along the side of his neck with that cold, familiar tenderness, and whispered,
Let's go somewhere special. Somewhere that still remembers us.
He felt something tighten around his heart like a rope pulling him forward. He didn't tell his family he was leaving. He didn't pack a bag. He didn't even bring a jacket. He just followed her through the night like a shadow trailing its owner. The drive felt strangely short, as if the road bent for them, guiding them back to a memory he had spent months trying to bury. And when they arrived, the sight of the pool hit him like a punch in the ribs, the still water glowing faintly under the lights, the air holding that faint chlorine smell he had tried so hard to forget. He stopped walking.
I don't want to be here.
He whispered, voice shaking. She looked back at him, eyes soft with something that wasn't comfort.
But you came anyway, love.
Why this place?
Her smile grew slow, deliberate. His breath stuttered. She stepped closer, resting her palm against his chest. Cold. Too cold.
You loved her here, and you lost her here, and you never healed. You never let go.
He shook his head weakly. For a split second, he didn't understand. Then he saw it, her reflection in the glass of the pool house door. Wet hair clinging to her face, skin pale and waterlogged, eyes filled with the same sadness he saw the night she died. His knees nearly buckled as he whispered,
No, it can't be.
The girl in front of him tilted her head, and the reflection tilted with her. Perfectly. She leaned in, lips brushing his ear.
I told you already. Maybe you do know me.
His body trembled violently as her fingers slid down his arm. He stumbled backward, chest heaving, but she stepped with him, never breaking eye contact.
You came for me. You kept meeting me. You kept waiting for me. You kept choosing me.
She smiled then, not sweet, not loving, a smile that carried the weight of the deep water she died in. The world spun. He remembered every night he came home soaked, every morning he woke gasping for air, every time he saw her figure in mirrors, in windows, behind him in the corner of rooms. She hadn't left him. She'd been calling him, pulling him, piece by piece. He tried to run. His legs barely obeyed him, but fear forced them forward. He stumbled toward the reception, toward any sign of life. But as he reached the lobby, the lights flickered violently, once, twice, and the entire building hummed with a low, shaking sound, like something underwater pounding to be let out. He didn't look back. He sprinted down the hallway, reached his room, and slammed the door shut behind him. He could still hear her voice on the other side, soft and calm, like she wasn't even trying to break the door.
Don't hide, baby. I came all this way for you. You don't want to leave me alone again, do you?
He pushed his back against the door, covering his ears with shaking hands, whispering to himself.
Wake up. Wake up.
But he was already awake. Too awake. At 3:12 a.m., the camera outside his room caught him stepping out alone, talking to someone who wasn't there, smiling at empty air, reaching his hand out like someone was leading him. He walked slowly toward the pool, barefoot, calm, like sleepwalking back into a dream he had lived before. And at 3:13 a.m., the same time she had drowned, he whispered,
Finally, I can be with you. Forever.
He climbed into the water without a splash and never surfaced again.